So I think we will start since it's 4 o'clock.
Yes, let's get started.
Yes. So welcome to this orientation for new international students at Umeå University today, 13th of January 2022. My name is Jessica and I work at the international office here at Umeå University, and we are very happy to have you here today with us.
Yes, and my name is Petra, and I also work at the international office, and me and Jessica, we're going to be your hosts here for today. And first, we would like to warmly welcome you to Umeå University. You can see the campus here on this slide, and we are 96 people that have joined us right now. So this is a pre-arrival webinar, and since the semester hasn't begun yet, and I know some of you are already here, but many of you are coming this Sunday.
Yeah, so the orientation, this is the first of 3 webinars, and it will give you smoother access to studies here at Umeå University. And it's the first time that we arrange a sort of pre-arrival for you to get prepared, also even before maybe you come here to Umeå. But it's as usual, even if you already arrived here. So the orientation program consists of these 3 webinars today, on Monday and Wednesday. We also have some short films on the orientation website. And the third part is social activities organized by the Buddy program, which you will learn more about on Monday.
Yes, and what you see here in front of you is today's schedule. And during the webinar, you will be able to see us, but we are not able to see you since it's a webinar. But you can always post a question in the chat. And we have Sandra with us, and she's managing the chat. Would you like to say hi, Sandra?
Hey, guys.
Great. Thank you, Sandra. And you don't need to ask Ellie to use the raise hand button. It's better if you can just post in the chat whenever you have a question.
Yes.
Great.
So, yeah.
And whenever you have a question, you know, either Sandra will write an answer directly in the chat, or she will tell us the question to answer it.
Yeah, so the program for today will run in an hour and a half until 5:30 Swedish times. We have added another extra 15 minutes since the university management wanted to have some of the COVID information today. So we will end at 5:30. So right now, we would like you to bring out your phones if you are not already on a phone. Then you can open a new window and go to menti.com, and we will soon show you a code on the screen.
Yes, so I will stop sharing and I will let Sandra share the Menti for you.
So the code is 90681242.
Yes, and the first question is, where are you now? We're really curious to know where you're at. Are you in your home country? Are you halfway on your way? Or have you already arrived here in Umeå?
So
yeah,
we can see from Slovenia? Slovenia to the Netherlands,
France,
Turkey, Stockholm, Umeå, Czech Republic, Finland, South Africa as well, Germany,
Cyprus,
Austria.
Oh, that's great. You're from so many places. We have someone writing in the chat as well. I'm from Tehran. Iran. Yeah.
So Spain, Norway. Well, as you can see, you are all over the world, basically. Korea. So warmly welcome. Now you can have a glimpse of people, what kind of countries you will meet people from when coming here to Umeå.
Yeah, let's look at the next question. How do you feel about coming to Umeå?
Let's see if
excited. So are we.
Always so nice to have our new international students with us. And we are also very excited to have you here. And of course, we understand that some of you may be nervous. And we can almost assure you that most of our international students are very, very happy when they get here and when they finish their studies here. So we hope that that will be the experience for all of you.
Absolutely.
So unsure, yeah, we can understand that in these weird times.
But that's also why we have the orientation for you, to get to know. And I see that someone also is posting in the chat, if there are any Germans, they can get in contact with one of our students to make friends, already before you're coming. And the last one, I don't know if you, started to learn in Swedish before you're coming, but if you have, you can tell us what you know. Fika, yes, most important one. Hey, älskling. And you know what? A lot of times we ask this question at the end of the semester. So it will be interesting to see what you're writing then.
Yeah, that was
Sköldpadda.
Yes, that is turtle, if you don't know. Sköldpadda in Swedish.
Someone is writing Duolingo. That's a great way actually to learn Swedish.
Yeah, and I can see that someone also wrote surströmming and smörgåstårta, two dishes in Sweden that are pretty common.
True, and älskling. Oh, I mean, you're learning some valuable words that you can use here.
Yeah, allemansrätten. Oh yes, that we will talk about, and friluftsliv. That we will talk about more on Wednesday. How to experience the nature here in Umeå.
Yes, and also lagom. I think one of our students will bring up.
Yes. Oh, so wonderful! Thank you so much for telling us about how much you've already learned Swedish. And now we are, yes, Petra, what's next on the schedule?
Yes, what's next is that we are going to welcome Don. He's the Director of Studies from Umeå School of Business, Economics and Statistics. So warm welcome to you, Don, and please share the screen with us with your presentation.
Thank you. Let's see then if we can get this running as it should. And one more click. There we go. All right. Thank you for that introduction, and warm welcome to all of you wherever you are. We hope to see you soon here. As mentioned, I'm Don Frost. I'm the Director of Studies at one of the schools and departments here at Umeå University. This presentation then is about the Swedish system of study. And I base this presentation then on some similarities and especially perhaps difficulties or peculiarities or differences that students have pointed out, international students have pointed out to us during their time with us. Some of the major differences that previous students then mentioned, that less stress, and that's a bit odd, but we will come back to that. Maybe a different type of stress. More own time, that's also related, I think, to the first point. And the two first then relate probably to the fact that we have fewer class hours, which is then a consequence of the fact that you will only be studying one course subject at the time. Normally, I would say that's the case. So you will not have 5 or 8 subjects running in parallel during the semester, but typically you will only have one subject or course to focus on at a time. And that could lead to a feeling of less stress and more own time and fewer class hours. Many pointed out that more group assignments, And all of this then also feeds back into more individual responsibility, that you are you have to take more responsibility for your own studies and to your own reading and all that. Normally, I would say that we have accessible teachers. It could be also that during these times with the COVID and things, that this is not, we try to be accessible still, even though if we are forced to be online to some part. I should mention this, and you will hear more about it, absolutely, about the COVID-19. It should be stressed that there are differences between departments, subjects and courses, even within the department. And this relates to the fact that you have very different class sizes sometimes, and very different syllabus and pedagogic that we need to work with. And that means that any adaptation could be very different between departments or courses. So be aware of this fact, and make sure that you check the schedule, the course schedule, and the course site, or the learning platform Canvas, then for changes or for information that's valid for you. And as always, follow all recommendations, even if you may see and find that the Swedish recommendations are perhaps softer than you're used to from your home country. That doesn't mean that the COVID is less serious here. So follow all recommendations, please do that. Let's see, there, sorry. These are the subjects then, the topics that I will cover during my presentation. And starting then with time management, the schedules and course related matters. There. We are in a 2-semester system, and 1 semester typically would then consist of 4 course modules at 7.5 ECTS each. And then this means that you will have 30 ECTS credits in 1 semester, and a full academic year then will be 60 credits. This is typically the case all over Europe now, but it could be very different if you're from outside of Europe. But since the ECTS system has been in place now for quite some time, this shouldn't be a surprise for anyone really at their home universities either. You will study, normally, as I mentioned, 1 course subject at the time, and that means also that you will have 1 final exam at a time. And since we are then in a modular course system, where we have courses in sequence, it means that you will have 1 course for, if you have a 7.5 ECTS course, you will study that course for about 23 days, and then you will have a final exam. That's a typical outline of the course. That's not the same thing as you will have lots of free time. It means that you have to plan your time, take responsibility for your own time management, and study so that you are prepared for the examination throughout the course module and at the end of the course module. So even with fewer contact hours perhaps than you're used to in total, the rest of the time then leading up to a full work week is studies on your own, or together with your friends in the class. A course syllabus is a legal document. It tells you what the course is about, the learning outcomes that a student should be able to show in order to have a pass grade. It also gives a general description of the outline of the course, the way the course is taught, and the forms of examination. And typically it will also, quite often it will also include a list of readings. And if it's not in the course syllabus, you will find it in Canvas in the learning platform, but most often it's actually in the course syllabus. If you are on an exchange and plan then, of course, to transfer your credits back to your home university, you should collect all of this documentation because this will help you with your transfer of credits. Your schedule for the course module should be available about at least 4 weeks prior to the course starts or the course module start. And you will see on the course student, the student web, you will see information on your schedule or where the schedule is published. If your schedule is not up there yet, make sure that you're looking at the right place. And if you still can't find it, if the course starts on Monday, it should absolutely be up. So then you are probably looking at the wrong place and should contact the department. And the library, Helene, our colleague Helene, will talk about later. So she will answer the questions about the literature and the library. The study environment then. As pointed out on my second slide, more group work and group assignments, typically, especially for students in business, but for many other subjects as well, I think. Coming from many different countries, and also you coming from your setting and then working together with national students or students that have been studying here all the time, you are sort of a foreigner in the country and you're international foreign students also in the group assignment, perhaps. Either because you're the only one or you're mixed with different cultures and different other international students in the same setting or same group. So this could be really a source of confusion and sometimes also irritation. So make sure that you have an open, or try to create an open atmosphere in your group so that you are aware of what's happening and what's causing any issues or problems within your group and working with your assignments. It's a good idea, I think, always to draft a simple group contract. If not asked by the teacher, you can do that yourself. And that's just, how do we communicate? How do we meet? When do we meet? When is our next meeting? What should be done until then? So that everyone is aware of what you're doing and the constraints that someone could be under. So make sure that you talk to each other and ask and not be annoyed and quiet. Just sort of raise your voice and make sure that everyone sort of understands what's going on. You have some online sources. You have the Office package for free as a student here, so you can download that, or you have the Office 365, so you can work online and you can work together in that with that tool as well as a group, for instance. Also during lectures or any teaching or education activities, you're not allowed to make any sound or video recordings. And this is a decision made by the Vice Chancellor from the university. So that's a general decision. Without the permission from the teacher, you're not allowed to do any sound or video recordings. If you are a student with special needs, for instance, dyslexia or a hearing impairment or anything else, this must be documented, and you need to contact then the University Office for Disability Services so that you can get the assistance that you may need and that you are entitled to. But this must be arranged prior to the course start. So if you have not done so, when you arrive and this is something that concerns you, you need to contact University Office for Disability Services. And this is available also, this information in English, also on the university webpage, so you can find it there. Teachers then and professors, you probably will not meet this guy, but you will meet all types of different persons and personalities, of course. Young, old, experienced or less experienced, male and female, so everyone and all the mixes you will have. Never be in doubt that the professor is sort of in charge, even though that you may be, in some cases, actually on a first name basis. Don't sort of misinterpret that of something else. The teacher is still in charge of everything that's going on, even though the atmosphere can be quite sort of informal in the classroom. When it comes to for instance, a thesis work, or if you are working on a paper, a group assignment or something, then you have tutoring or supervision with the teacher. Make sure that you understand each other so that you are not thinking that the teacher is giving you some advice, and the teacher believes that he or she has actually told you or asked you to do something, and you thought that, well, that was a good idea, but I'm not going to do that. So make sure that you understand, because especially I think sometimes Swedish teachers can be a bit sort of vague on, they're not ordering you, they're trying to sort of make you understand if something needs to be done or not. And so then there could be a source of confusions perhaps sometime. Exams and grading. Not fun for anyone, I would say. It's a necessary thing that we need to do in order to assess your if you have learned or not, the learning outcomes and what you are expected to know. Let me start with written hall exams, which is a very typical form of examination. Let's see if I skipped. No. Written hall exams. Written exams you must sign up for. You can't attend a hall exam, a written hall exam, if you haven't signed up for it. And this information should be available in your schedule or in your course platform on how to do this. Usually this is in the student web. So once you sign on with your Umeå identity, you will see and you can sign on for the exam. But if you haven't signed up for the exam, you will not be able to take the exam. If in the sad case that you should fail your first exam, the re-exam or another opportunity will be available in about 6 weeks. And as you realize, the new course module have already started then, so you have to study a new subject and at the same time prepare again for the re-exam. Try to pass the first is always a good thing. I added this line then just to emphasize that sometimes when students have to go back. So I mean, if you're only here for the spring semester, you will be able to do the exam and re-exam for the first 3 modules. The last course in May have their exam then in late May, early June, probably, and the re-exam will then be in August, and you're already back home. The department then have to sort that out for you. But typically you have an exam, re-exam, and the August re-exam, or the next time the course is given. We don't offer any other exam opportunities than these. And this can sometimes be a bit problematic for students returning to their home university. So you need to be aware. We are not allowed to do any more exams. These are the exams. We have exam halls off campus or very close to the campus. Most of the hall exams take place there. It could be that we have to use other exam halls as well. So make sure that you check the schedule for information on where the exam takes place and that you know where that is, so that you don't wonder in the morning of the exam where that building is or where in Umeå that building is. That's not the right way. And we are now very careful, so we have to respect all instructions and keep distance. We are actually using more entrances, for instance, to the exam halls to spread people out and to make sure that we have distance between people as well. So make sure that you're following all of these instructions. You must have a photo ID with you, your passport, your Umeå card that you will get, which is for printing, library, access to buildings and things like that. That's not an ID. You must have your photo ID, and that probably is your passport. And if you don't have your photo ID or passport with you to the exam, you will not be able to take the exam. Be in good time, I would say at least 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes is good, because now everything takes a bit more time with more distance and more entrances. So be in good time to exam halls. Unless stated, you're not allowed to bring anything else than your pen and eraser. Teacher will tell you what's allowed and not beforehand, but if nothing else is said, only the paper and pen, no writing material other than that. Usually we will have 4-hour exams, so something to drink and some quiet, non-smelly food, so get your energy to keep your sugar, blood sugar levels on the right side of things. No talking, and of course in exam hall, silence is king. Trying to talk to each other or making things that will result in a complaint filed to the disciplinary committee of the university. And doesn't matter what you say or in what language you say, you should be absolutely quiet. If you need to talk to or ask the exam vigilators for assistance with something, you will just have to raise your hand and they will come and ask you what you need. I will check the chat in a bit to see if there's anything that my colleagues have not answered, Sandra and Jessica. Once you're in the exam hall and you sit down, this is what's allowed on your desk, at your desk. Your approved photo ID should be on there. Your pencil, eraser, ruler, and things like that. If you need earplugs or glasses, you can have that, but without the case. And no bulky packaging if you are bringing something to drink or a chocolate bar or something, nothing else. And you will not pick up on the filthy Swedish habit of wet tobacco, which is called snus. So, and there are no smoke breaks during the exam. So it's a good idea if you're still smoking, you can quit that habit. This is a great opportunity to do that while you're in Umeå. Also, you're not allowed to have your jacket. It needs to be placed at the back of the hall. And you are not allowed to have your mobile phone in your pocket. So, and you probably don't want to leave your expensive, fancy phone in your jacket either. So leave it at home. It's the simplest thing. If you have your mobile phone in your pocket, that could actually result in a complaint also to the disciplinary committee for having unauthorized aid. Typically, you sign up for an exam at least 10 days before the exam. So sometime the first 2 weeks of the course module, you will sign up for the exam as well. But at least 10 days before. Grading then, well, a marked exam should have a final grade. If you pass an exam, you're not able to sit for the exam again in order to receive a higher grade. Once you passed, you have passed. If a course module consists of several examinations, all of the different examinations must be a pass in order for the whole course module or course to be marked as pass. If you're missing one examination, you will not be awarded a grade. If you have to do a re-examination, you're not sort of punished when it comes to the grade. even if you have to do a re-examination, you can still get the highest grade. So you're not sort of punished by the fact that you have to do the re-exam. And I should also say that examinations and grades, they are non-negotiable. We are not sort of negotiating the exams or anything like that. If a grade, if you believe that the grade was not correct, there is a possibility to do what is called a request for a grade review. That is a review of the grade you have received. It's not a review of the marking of your exam. They're different things, and that's something that needs to be done in writing through the administration of the department in order for us to consider that. It's not very common, but it happens that students want to do that in some cases. I should also mention that grades are absolute in Sweden, or at least here in Umeå. They're not relative, so that means that everyone can fail, or actually everyone can get the highest mark, which is maybe, I'm not sure if that's more likely, but it's unlikely that everyone would fail. But your grade is not dependent on how many got the highest grade or the percentage. So we're on an absolute grade, so you will have pass or pass with distinction, and your grade is in that sense not dependent on how many others have received a certain grade. There is a thing called ECTS grading table, and the use of this depending on the department. And it could be that sometimes your home university really wants this. It's not that common still, but different departments use it by standard and others don't use it at all. But if your home university really demands this, then you should talk to your international coordinator here for your host department. And they will see what they can do to assist you with this. And if I remember correctly, there is a film at the international orientation page. I'm not sure if it's still there. I hope so. But that also gives you some information about the grades as well. Sorry, I should have something to.
Yes, Don, it's still there, just to confirm.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Academic misconduct then, which is then the fancy word for saying that someone has cheated on an examination. Examples of this, typically trying to use unauthorized aid. The attempt or the fact is cheating. Changing a marked assignment and saying that you made a mistake here and we realized that you made a change, that's cheating. If we say that this is an individual assignment and you cooperate, that's cheating. If you realize that this question or this assignment looks very similar to what I wrote at home, so I'll just reuse that, that's also cheating. It should be an original work for the original assignment. Copying someone else's work, of course, is another example of cheating. Typically, I would say that the most common thing is plagiarism or copying someone else's work. So make sure that you use the excellent sources that, for instance, the library have on paraphrasing and referencing, how to make the text your own text, and then also use references to make correct references to the original work. So even if it's paraphrasing and you rephrasing it and making it your own word, it's not your original thought from the beginning, perhaps. So you still have to use the references. But there are excellent resources available at the university library for this. And all of this goes for all parts of the course examination. It's not just a written exam. Any examination that you do will fall under the same rules when it comes to cheating or academic misconduct. If you're uncertain about something, ask your teacher, but do it before you hand in your work. So before and not after is what you should do. And of course, follow instructions. That's a good way. Quite often I see that some international students have a difficulty in this with making references and paraphrasing and using others' text correctly and all of this. If this is something that you are uncertain about and haven't done much at your home university or where you studied before, make sure that you pick up this as soon as you can and make use of the resources that Helen probably will mention as well. General information about cheating and what happens if this is the case is available also on the internet, on our website. I should mention also, perhaps here, it's not in printing, any suspicion of a student misleading in examination, a teacher must report to their director of studies at the department. And then I, in my role, must investigate the fact. And if I believe that we have a suspicion of a student trying to mislead, cheat in an examination, I must make a complaint then to the disciplinary committee at the university. So the teacher have to report and I have to investigate and report. And then the disciplinary committee will make their investigation sort of and make a formal decision in the end. So it's not up to the individual teacher to make any judgment in when it comes to any suspicion of misleading in examinations. And that's an important fact, I think. I think this is my second last slide. So just remember that any changes of courses and all that, you must talk to international office. This is very late to do that. You probably will have to use Zoom at some point, or would like to use some Zoom at some point. Once you have your Umeå ID, use the option log on SSOs, which is a good acronym for something fancy that the IT students know. Otherwise, you will not be logged on with the Umeå ID and don't have full functionality. Eduroam you probably have. You can install it on all your devices once you're on campus for wireless access with everything. And keep up to date with the COVID. Make sure that you update your contact info once you have your Umeå ID on the web as well, because your any announcements from the course platforms and from us will come to the email address that you have in our records, and that you can check on the contact info link here. All right. That was the very fast version of Swedish system of study. I will browse through.
Thank you so much, Don. So I've written down some questions here. So one was about the library and course books, and I think Helen will go into that. So I think we'll leave that question. And also about students and staff wearing masks, we will go in through later with the COVID regulations.
Good.
And there's a recent question about if it's feasible to attend both 15 and 3 ECTS course at the same time. I don't know if you have an opinion about that.
No, well, it's better to study one thing at a time, but it could be that, for instance, the language course, Swedish language course or something, could be a parallel, and then probably they have fixed days and fixed schedule for that. if that's the case. So that could work, but you shouldn't take on too much before you know sort of the system and all that. So if you're only here for one semester, I think 15 and 3 would be fine probably, but 15 and 15 at the same time, that could be really problematic.
Okay.
Especially since you're only studying sort of in sequence. So lots of things going on during the 23 days.
Yes. Okay, so you mentioned to contact the international office if change of courses. We should just say that that is for if you're an exchange student.
Yes.
So one question which you may be able to answer is, if I cannot attend the first class of the course due to flight delay, should I contact the professor for the absence?
That could be a good idea. So the first thing is that make sure that you are able to register for the course, because the course registration ends on midnight Monday. So the department needs to know that you are coming. So in some cases you're able to register actually online, but in some cases you have to register on campus. So it could be differences between departments. So the first, make sure that you can register. Then of course it's nice if you can notify the professor perhaps, or the teacher, that you will be 1 day late, because they could be the fact that they are trying to set up groups for group assignments or something, and then it's good to know that you will be attending the course.
I also have a question here, which I do not really know the answer to. So the question is, can we use a Zoom account, which is fully featured, but not from Umeå University?
I think that you can. There is an option in Zoom when we set up so that we can click in that you're, if you don't have the Umeå sort of log on, you can't access the Zoom meeting. I have never heard of anyone using that option, but the option is there, so it could be a problem. But I think that's more a theoretical problem than a practical one. I think that what we would like to see as teachers is that you have a picture of you and not your dog, that you have your camera on, and that your full name is displayed and not something else. Then if it's the Umeå log on, or if it's another log on which is fully functional, that's fine, I think. I wouldn't notice probably.
That is great tips. Thank you so much, Don, for your introduction to the study system here. Do you want to mention something about the platform that's being used? Yeah,
the learning platform. I thought there was a question about that somewhere here. The learning platform that you will be using probably is Canvas. We call it Canvas. I think that's a system that is called Canvas also sort of internationally. Once you have your Umeå ID, that is the key to everything. So there is not a specific Canvas log on. You log on to the web to sign up for exams. That's your identity also for borrowing books or in the library, and for logging on to your email, to everything, including Canvas. So it's not a separate, it's a web-based learning platform, and your Umeå ID is the key to access it. And once you're registered for a course, you should be able to access also the course resources that probably will be in Canvas.
And we will go through the Umeå ID in just a bit. So we'll get back to that. But a final question to you is, does the teaching start exactly when it's scheduled? In Finland, we have academic quarters, which means that if lessons has scheduled to start 2 p.m., it actually starts 2:15.
I took that picture out this year. I would say let's be in time. So let's be, for the first lecture, show up at 2 o'clock if it's 2 o'clock. And then probably you will realize it's 2:15. But not everyone is using the academic quarter. It could be different between faculties or even departments. But most of us are on the academic quarter. But for the first lecture, I would say be on the hour. Then you're on the safe side, and make sure that you then understand, do we have the academic quarter or not? Then you know.
Thank you so much, Dom. So before we move on to Helen, I would just like to say that if you want to write a question, please use the function to write to all panelists or to everyone. Do not write directly to one of the panelists because we are cooperating to be able to answer all your questions. So thank you for that. So we are moving on to Helen, who is from the University Library, and we'll talk about the library resources. Warmly welcome, Helen.
Thank you very much. And it's so nice to see that so many students are present. I can count to 113. Actually, it's a number at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to tell you the most important parts of information you need about the library directly. Maybe it's too late for some of you, but actually information can never be too late. So I will share my screen with you so you can see my PowerPoint, and I will talk to that. So I will move that. So this is a short introduction to what you will be able to do at the library, practical information, and some important rules. And as Dawn told you, the UMU card, the UMU ID is very important. I will show you later that you actually have to get the actual card, not just the registration and sign-on information, but you have to get the physical card to be actually able to borrow physical books in the library. Oops, sorry. Obviously, I have some timing device here that's working too quickly. This is important. These are the opening hours for the library. We have quite reasonable opening hours now. There might be some stuff happening with opening hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We don't know, but we are going to try to stay open as much as possible, because if we have many hours open every day, you can spread out and use the library whenever it's open, and not just everyone having to come here at the same time to pick up books, for instance. And when we change the hours, you have to look them up at our web. And this is the wrong address. I'm sorry about that. But if you go to the university website and just click on the library link, you will find our homepage. So what you will find is the largest library this far north in Europe, at least. And we have more than 1.5 million titles in our collections. And a lot of these books are in English, and we have quite a few books in other languages also. But what's rather special about our library is that we have everything that's been printed in Sweden since the mid-1970s. We get a legal copy of everything that's printed. You will also be able to find one copy of every student textbook, at least one copy. You can't be guaranteed to be able to borrow your way through your studies. The Swedish system assumes that you buy your textbooks, the obligatory textbooks, and that you borrow or copy from the reference texts. Most of the scholarly and scientific journals that you can access in our collection are available in electronic form nowadays. And you will find all the important academic journals there, and they are searchable through our website, and you can download them if you sign on. So the library isn't available just when it's actually open. It's like so many other libraries in the world. It's available on the web 24/7. And I don't know if it's very visible here, but there's a logon at the top of the page when you try to access it. That's not the logon to the library resources. That's this one, my account, but it's the same logon as everywhere else. So then you have to be prepared to scroll down our homepage to find out more about what we have available for you, or you can use the menu. So this is a better picture showing that the logon at the top of the page, that's very good when you want to find out about your courses and your schedules, but they don't give you access to the electronic journals and the electronic books and databases. So this picture was very relevant last semester because we had almost a close down at the library. It wasn't completely closed, but nearly. And we had moved away lots of the furniture, much more than you can see on this picture, when we had the last big outbreak. But now we have removed lots of the restrictions on occupancy in the library, so you're very welcome to come here. And but I suggest that you and still try to keep some distance while this Omicron virus version is so usual right now. So if we find that we are blocking seating areas, it's for your safety and for our safety. We want you to be able to use the resources, but not help spreading the virus. So as Dawn said, use the Umeå ID as your library card. You have to look up the rules for the card to find out exactly what the rules are. But I can tell you that the most important one is get the card, the physical card, so that you can borrow physical books. And also remember, you're not allowed to eat food in the library. And loan and visiting rules are important to study for you because you're responsible for everything that you borrow. And these rules also state what you cannot do. We will not fine you if you're late in returning a book. But if it's a course textbook and you return it late, you will get another kind of punishment. You won't be able to borrow any books for 6 weeks. That's not a nice thing for a student who needs to borrow books. And here it says fika is allowed, food is not, and I will repeat that in the presentation. Because we have so many restaurants and coffee shops around the campus, there's no need really to bring your food also to the library. And I think you need a break. But if you like to bring maybe coffee, tea, soft drink, and a bun or something, that's okay. But please don't bring fruit into the library, food into the library. I'm sorry. Because it just causes lots of garbage and some bad smells, and the cleaning ladies don't like it. We don't like it either. And there is one exception to anything about eating or drinking. If you go down into our open stacks to find the books to borrow, don't bring anything to eat or drink down into the stacks with you. And the reason for this is that it's not suitable environment to eat and drink, actually. That's just it. And the library is located at 3 different places on campus. The main library close to the social science building, that's here, and the medical library. And if you think going in to the west, down to the river, there is also a small library at the arts campus. Here at Universum, it says group study rooms on this slide. Right now, that's the place where you go to get your flu shots and your COVID shots. Yeah, that was a very quick tour through some information about the library. And you will be able to find out lots more from our website, which is available both in Swedish and English. And there are contact possibilities at our website where you can ask questions, chat with us, and so on. And this link, you will get this PowerPoint, I think. And then you can use this link and watch a short video where you can see parts of the library also if you don't have a chance to come and visit us in person. Unfortunately, due to the COVID pandemic, we are not arranging any tours until we know that it's safe. So you have to walk through the library by yourself, but feel free to ask the staff for questions. So thank you very much for stop share
Yes,
for
thank you.
looking at my silly PowerPoint. I thought I had been able to remove the timings, but I obviously hadn't.
It's no
Thank you so
problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think there was one question for you, Helene.
Okay.
And it's, is it possible to use ebooks as textbooks? I mean, can you find most of the books as ebooks, or how is
In
that?
some cases, they are using ebooks as textbooks, but it's very rare so far, and it has to do with the how the publisher are charging the library for ebooks. When we buy textbooks in printed version, we own the book outright, so we can do what we want with it. But when we buy ebooks, we buy them under conditions that are stipulated by the publisher. So they might say that, well, this book you can only use, one person at a time can read it. For other books, they say that yeah, it's okay to use it as a course textbook. So you never know in advance. When it's possible, we try to get electronic books. When it's not, but the Swedish system says that the student is supposed to be able to buy the textbooks for themselves. Or as modern students say, we can beg, borrow, and steal and download for free if we may. But never tell a librarian where you find your electronic copy.
Okay, good to know.
I might find it, but I'm protecting the. I feel an obligation almost to protect the people who put in lots of hours to produce really good textbooks for your students. If you download pirate copies, then you are making life terrible for these book publishers.
Yeah.
For the
There's
authors, not the.
there's a following question here. Where can we buy the textbooks if there are no copies?
Yeah, there is one bookshop in Universum where you can buy secondhand books, and I think that's online also. But go to Universum and get acquainted there. They don't have everything, but they can tell you also where you can buy textbooks cheaper online. And there are two bookstores in the center of Umeå. Otherwise, it doesn't take many days to get your copies through the mail if you have a good mail address to get your books delivered to.
That's true.
To buy online.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there was actually a question before when Dan was speaking,
Yeah.
which relates to this one. So if the library has enough course books to everyone.
Usually I have tried to guess how many copies we have in relation to how many students there are, but I would like to say that maybe 1 in 10 students can borrow. And I know there are some universities, usually not universities, tekniska högskolor, yrkesskolor, vad heter det på engelska?
So are you meaning like USBE and
No, I'm trying to remember. There's a different kind of higher education where it's more the standard where you get your education to a specific. Forget about it. The Swedish system normally says that the library only has to carry one copy, but the tradition is that the library has 2, 3, 5 copies of a book, and if several different courses programs use the same book, we might have even more copies, but we never have a whole class set. But in some instances, I think that there are some exceptions where the departments arrange for class sets of specific books. I know this is true for the pharmacy students, and there's been some other exceptions also.
Okay,
But
so you get
yeah.
information from your teacher basically normally.
Yeah. And sometimes you can actually, I know the teacher don't always love this, but you should be allowed to use any reasonably high quality textbook source if it contains the information that the teacher expects you to learn. So in some way, the reading list, when it doesn't say obligatory, it means that you could replace a book with something that is very similar.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, thank you so much, Helene. I think, Jessica, before the floor is yours, and you're going to show us how to find your schedule and talk about the UMU ID. I see there are many questions coming in. I think we can
So
just,
I say goodbye, and
you
you
say
can do a
goodbye.
little stretching.
Yeah, I
and
thought we can do a little bit of stretching, take a short
Bye-bye.
pause. Bye-bye.
Bye, Helen. Thank you so much. So I see that there are coming in more questions about the UMU card. We will cover that more thoroughly on Monday, since that's when you can actually do more to order it. But we can just briefly say that you should go to Info Center to order your UMU card, and it's also used not just for the library, but also if you want to get into facilities on campus during hours that they're not open for the public, normally after 5:30 in the afternoons and on weekends. You also use the card for with a pin to get entrance. But we will cover that more on Monday. And I think there are also films on the orientation website. Sandra or Petra can confirm that to you when you can learn more about the UMU card. So I would like to show you how to find your schedule and stuff. So this is the web page, the English website. I hope you've seen that you can switch here to Swedish and English, and I'm right now on the umu.se English start page. So you go here for students. If you want to find your schedule, the easiest way is to log in. To be able to log in, you will have to have activated your UMU ID. If you haven't done that, you go here. And there are different ways, but most of you should have received an activation code by email. And then you choose, I want to activate using an activation code, and go through this. Choose here. You can also order a new activation code if you lost yours. Right now, I know that or if you didn't receive one, you can also contact the Info Center at Umeå University. Right now, I know that they have a lot of emails to answer. So if you want to get a quick help with activating your UMU ID, I suggest you call them tomorrow, Friday, during their opening hours. But you can also, of course, send an email. So if you are able to log in, you will see schedule under active courses, where you can find the courses and click on them for further information. So for example, see your schedule, get information about how to register for the course, and so on, and find your welcome letter. If you cannot log in, there's another way, using the shortcuts. Find your schedule. So you can search here for a course. I'm going to go to one just here to give you an example. So this is a course, and they have uploaded a welcome letter. And you will hopefully be able to see how to register on the course, and the course start, and the schedule. I know that some of you have said that there's nothing there, then the first thing I would suggest you to do is to see if there is something under Contact Us. On this course, there's an email address that you can use. If there's no such information there, a recommendation for exchange students is to contact the international contact person at your department. You can search for international contact persons here. So just pick the department where your course is at and contact that person. If none of that is possible for you, I suggest that you contact the info center. And once again, they have a lot of emails coming in. So if you want a quick answer, I'd suggest that you call them tomorrow during their opening hours. So then if you found your schedule and your welcome letter and you know where you will be at when your course starts, you have maybe a number, but you really don't know where it is. So if you go on the bottom of each page on umeå.se, you'll find us. And here we'll find maps of the campus Umeå, University Hospital, and the Arts campus. So if we go on campus Umeå, and I, for instance, want to search for, and it takes a bit time to load. And this you can use on your phone as well, of course. Then I want to find a building. So for instance, I want to find S205, which is here. And you will find a map with a point where to go.
Jessica, could you perhaps just show them also where they can pick up their PCR tests when they arrive here in Umeå?
Yes, of course. So I need to get a bit. So this is Universum, which you've heard before. This is where the info center is located. If you are coming here and living with or renting through the housing office, this is where you will pick up your keys. And this is a central area at Umeå campus. So from here, you just walk here. And this is where you pick up the tests. You will not miss, there are orange signs from, I think, all over from here to point out the COVID test, where you can pick up the COVID tests. So that's where you go. It's a walking distance from the campus in Umeå. So very close. But check their opening hours, and I think you should have received this by email as well. So they're open, I think, from 8 to 12 and from 1 to 4, Monday through Friday. Okay, so now I cannot see if there are questions about this. But Petra, you should tell me if there's something else that I should.
I think Sandra is answering most of them.
So then I'll stop sharing. We can come back if there are more questions. So hopefully you now know what to do. If you cannot find your schedule or welcome letter, call the info center or contact the person who's responsible for the course firsthand or secondhand. Contact the international contact person if you're an exchange student, or contact the info center.
Yeah, that's exactly the question we got. I haven't received my welcome letter. I didn't get it in my email. What should I do? Yeah.
So check the course page, first of all, see if it's uploaded there. If it's not, see if there's a contact person and contact that person. If you haven't received an answer for that tomorrow, then try to call the info center, I would say, and they hopefully be able to help you. I know that this can cause stress for some of you, but this will be sorted out. But it's good to contact the info center and see if they are able to help you if you haven't received an answer from that person who is stated as a course contact.
Yes, perfect. We have received 3 questions, I think, about students arriving late on Sunday and picking up their keys.
Okay, so normally you need to find another person who can help you pick up your keys, such as another student that gets here earlier, and then you should write to the housing office and tell who is picking up them for you. This is normally the case. Otherwise, you need to find another such a hotel or hostel or something somewhere to stay just the night to be able to come get them on Monday morning when they open, unfortunately. Okay, so
So time to move on, I think.
yes, I think so.
Let's see, studies in COVID-19.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so this is something that we are all a bit tired of, I assume, but nonetheless important to go through regulations and how we adjust to the current COVID regulations. So please
Yes,
go.
so we're so happy that you are able to come to Umeå University despite the pandemic.
Yes. So you probably know that all travelers to Sweden are advised to get tested for COVID-19 as soon as possible after arrival with a PCR test. And now we've shown you where you can pick up that test. You should know that most of you do not have a Swedish personal identity number, which means that you will also have to pick up at the same place, be assigned a reserve number to be able to get your test result. And you do that at the exact same spot where you pick up the test. So just tell the ones that are giving them to you. Be cautious, of course, of symptoms 14 days after travel, and of course, you know, all the time you are here. And if you start showing symptoms, you must get tested again.
Yes, and of course you have to stay at home and isolate yourself from others. We showed you before where you pick up the PCR tests, and when you're waiting for your test, it's usually 7 days that you have to stay at home. And you will receive all the information about other students that you maybe have met, and they have to get tested after 5 days after meeting you. But you should be careful, of course. You know, it's good to meet people outside because it's spreading quite rapidly right now. But if after you've been in isolation for 7 days, there is no need to get tested again.
Okay, so I assume that most of you are vaccinated, but if you are not, you should take special precautions. This means that you, for example, should avoid indoor environments where many people are gathered, and that Umeå University has no obligation to adapt studies because students are not vaccinated. So if you are not already vaccinated against COVID-19, so please consider getting it. And there's a vaccination center, as Helen mentioned, on campus Umeå, where you can learn more. And I see a question now, how many krones the PCR test costs? It's free, so don't worry about that. You can, you know, pick out one every time that you feel that you have a cold or such. And also vaccination in Sweden is free of charge.
Yes, and you know, whenever there is a situation when it's not possible to maintain the distance, you should wear a mask. And also when you're traveling on public transportation and in healthcare. And there are several places where you can buy the masks, but a pharmacy or a supermarket is two good places to look at.
Yes, and to use CE marked face masks and not just one with textile.
Yeah, that's true. And well, right now, as we heard Dawn speaking before, there's a combination of classes on campus and online lectures. And for exams, they're currently held physically with attendance when it's necessary. But you will receive all the information from your particular course that you will study, but make sure to not cause any crowding yourself, you know, if you are on campus. And you will be informed of all the updates and formats and changes, so don't worry. And all the cafes and restaurants and the campus in general, it's open. So you are welcome to come to the campus, of course, but as national restrictions in cafes and restaurants are limited to 8 people and all the tables are 1 meter apart. So we're trying to keep the distance, and if you don't feel well, of course, you should stay home until you feel better.
Yeah. So these are the current Swedish national guidelines, and as you know, they can quickly be updated. So keep an eye on them. But the ones that are currently right now is that everybody should keep distance from others and avoid crowded public places, especially indoors. And adults should limit the number of close contacts indoors as well. And yeah, for example, don't go to dinner parties and similar social gatherings with a lot of people that you don't know. Keep it to a small number of persons that you meet regularly. So when travel on public transport, you should avoid rush hours if possible, and wear face masks when it's not possible to keep distance from other travelers. And yeah, to keep updated, the university has a COVID page. It's on the top bar. It says COVID-19 on each university page. And of course, you can also find the national guidelines on the Public Health Agency of Sweden's website. And regarding testing and vaccination, 1177.se, I see that there are a lot of questions regarding, or some questions regarding the booster shot, and if it can be taken here. I think that it's possible, but we can look that up to Monday to get more information if possible, to give you a more straight answer.
Yes, and Jessica, should we keep on with the FAQ and then pick up the questions, or? I think people are writing questions in the chat.
Yeah, I think we can continue, and then we'll try to collect the questions in the end, so we can get through the program.
Yes.
So this we have already been. This is from our mobility team who works with the exchange students, and a lot of you are exchange students, and so we have gathered some questions that are currently coming in from several of you. This one we have already gone through, I think, but if you are arriving after 17th of January, you should contact the teacher of your first course to ask if it's possible to arrive late and still keep your place. With some, as Dawn mentioned, for some courses, you need to be on campus to register on your course. And also, if you're renting through the housing office, you should contact them about your late arrival. And yes, this is also a question we've gone through. I hope this was clear when I showed you the website. If not, please write in the chat and we can try to talk about it a bit more. So for incoming exchange students, I know there's usually a lot of questions that you have when you come, perhaps regarding switching courses and stuff like that. And the mobility team will have drop-in meetings in Zoom on Monday and Tuesday, 17 and 18 January between 11:30 and 1:30 both days. And you should have received the link to those drop-in meetings in Zoom by email. And a lot of you have documents that need to be signed and learning agreements. You can send it directly to the international office, incoming.io@umu.se, that you can do now. Regarding confirmation of arrival or confirmation of stay, etc., you can do that earliest on Monday, and you can hand in that document to InfoCenter or send the document by email to InfoCenter.
Great, thank you, Jessica. So today we're going to end this orientation with some tips from our current international students. And Mary is one of our students, and she is giving us her best tips. So as Dawn was talking about before, no unnecessary stress. I mean, it's different to study in Sweden with one course at a time. So some students feel that it's really not that stressful. And all the teachers are usually very friendly. You call them by their first name, and it's nice. It's usually really a good an open atmosphere in the classes, and all the students, they are also you're able to evaluate your courses. You can be in the student council or the program council, and you can give your views and points for making the courses even better. So it's a lot of ways to be connected and in your courses. And Mary is also, was concerned about the food, and she assures you that you can find anything here in Umeå. For example, there are lots of small Asian food stores, but also many students cook together in the corridors with their mates, and it's a good way to get to know people as well. So don't worry about the food, it will work out. And many might wonder if there is a language barrier, but no, not at all. I mean, it's almost hard to get to know Swedish, because Swedish people are really keen on practicing their English. So absolutely not. And then for activities, I'm sure many of you are eager to see the Northern Lights, as you can see here to the left. And also, I mean, I recommend for you to go skiing. We have a ski slope right in the center of Umeå. You can see the Swedish cinnamon buns here in one picture at the same time as a barbecue, so you can combine like all the different activities in one. And also taking a bicycle is a good way to see the city and to get around.
Yes, and Monasha is one of our recent graduates from Zimbabwe, and he would like to give you these tips. So everything is close in Umeå, so take advantage of that and go and visit all the different locations in Umeå, because it's so easy to get around. And join the buddy program and get to know your classmates. Those are the most valuable memories that he has from his study time here in Umeå. And just go out and do stuff with new people that can be like the best friends that you have, and be friends for a lifetime. And enjoy the nature. Nature is also very close here in Umeå, and take the time to discover the aurora and cook food outside, and get to learn the Swedish way of things here, and embrace embrace the different seasons, and take the opportunity to travel within Sweden as well. These are pictures from Skuleskogen and the high coast area, which is just about 2-hour drive from here. And yeah, there are many fantastic places that you can go to.
Great, thanks Jessica. And we also have Andrea from Mexico, and her 5 best tips are: number 1, make the most out of library resources and study rooms. So on campus, there are several study rooms, and especially in the library where you can sit and study. And also enjoy the grading system, for example. Check templates, exams, familiarize and enjoy the grading system. So the grading system is usually to pass or not to pass, and sometimes you can get 1 grade up, pass with distinction, but it's not, a whole range of different letters. So it can ease the stress sometimes. And make friends as soon as possible. And there's no bad weather, it's only bad clothing. So, find what you need and get out there. And to get out there and enjoy the winter, you can buy good winter clothes, of course. She's recommending here Stadium Outlet. Stadium is one of the biggest sports stores, and in their outlet you can find quite cheap clothings. And also you shouldn't underestimate the secondhand stores. Myrornas, for example, or Returbutiken. There you can find both furnitures and clothings. And many of you are probably going to live in Ålidhem, and we have Fritidsbanken there, and they lend out leisure equipment. So for example, if you want to go skiing or skating, you can borrow equipment for free. And number 5, get a bicycle and invest in a good lock. Yes, that's a very good advice. And also you can rent e-bikes in Umeå. And you can find bicycles, for example, here. She recommends a couple of Facebook groups, Umeå Student Secondhand Bikes Markets and the Umeå Aurora Hunters, where it's posted almost daily, if there is if it's a possibility to see the aurora or not. So then you know when to go out hunting for it. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Petra. And before we wrap up, we will just show you the orientation program for Monday and Wednesday. And there are different times, so please check the orientation website or the emails that you received. So on Monday, we will have a welcome from the university management and the student services at Info Center and student health service, and ICSO, which is the largest training facility in Northern Europe that we know that many students are interested in. And good to know for incoming exchange students and tuition fee paying students. Insights into Swedish culture. This one you don't want to miss. Very fun and learning experience. And also the buddy program. And on Wednesday, we will talk a bit more about the city of Umeå and things to do here. But before we go, we would like to show you a picture for those of you who arrive on Sunday by airplane.
Yes, true. So I'll fast forward through this one first. Here is the orientation page. You probably already found it. And also the page Welcome to New Students, where we have collected and gathered all the information you need to know when you're a new student. And if you have any questions, here are all our email addresses. Maybe you can print screen it, or you can watch the recording later to find the email, and you're welcome to contact us. And here is the airport. You can see the entrance here to the left, and then when you go out from the entrance, you turn right, and you can see the bus over there. And that's what it's going to be like on Sunday.
Yeah, and if you arrive another day or not within housing office opening hours, there will be a normal airport bus that takes you downtown Umeå, and you can switch buses on the same ticket with that one to go to your neighborhood.
Yes, and also good to know is that we're using the same link for our orientation sessions. So on Monday, you can log in with this same exact link.
Yeah, and it's on 3:30 on Monday. And the shuttle bus is free for those who live with the rent with the housing office. Yes.
Yes, and I see a question now. Is there something similar if you arrive by train? And if you get off at Östra Station, there are 2 stations here in Umeå. It's just by the university, so you're literally there. You're just outside of the hospital when you go out.
Yeah, and make sure to go to the out to the entrance that points to the university hospital if you come to Umeå Östra, and then you will just continue walking and you will get to Universum and the campus Umeå. It's a 5-minute walk, so it's very close.
Yes, and maybe Sandra, can you post the link to Ultra, the local bus company here in Umeå? I see someone is writing about that.
Yeah,
Someone is writing, it's coming so close. Thanks for this well-organized webinar. Look forward to meet you all soon. We are too.
Yes, we are looking forward to welcome you here, and we hope you have a safe travel here. And if you have any questions or concerns tomorrow, you can always call the info center if you want to talk to someone directly, and they will guide you.
Yes, and also if there are any questions that we haven't answered today, we will look through them for Monday's session again, and also you can repeat them then, but we will see if there's anything we need to bring up on Monday.
Yes, thank you so much for today, and looking forward to see you here and welcome you to Umeå.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.